Hello everyone, Tom D here. I'm going to do a couple videos today. We're going to do one that's first a field strip and reassembly of a Ruger Mark II pistol, and then we're going to take that same pistol and we're going to break it down into a detailed strip and put back together. In case you're not familiar with it, the Mark IIs, they came out in 1982 and they made them through 2004, still selling some of them new in 2005. There's about 3 million of them made. Basically, these were an upgrade off of the Mark I. Mark Is and the standards having been made since about 1949 when they first came out. Over 1 million of them had been made at that point when Ruger switched over to do the Mark II. So what I'm going to be using today is a Mark II government target model. So this one's got a 6 7/8 inch barrel. Let me just show you here. You can see it on there, hopefully in the lighting there. Government target model. These came out, this particular one was made in 1984, best I can tell based on the serial number. I don't know if you get a good look at that. That 210, that 0 has actually got a double stamp on it. So kind of interesting there. Let me go ahead and get everything moved aside. I'm going to get the grips taken off and then we're going to get started. I do want to point out that I have Valgorzen grips. The original grips, I believe, for the government target are wood with a thumb wrist built into it, or thumb rest built into it. These particular Valgorzen grips they made for the Mark IIs. I believe they've made them also for the Mark IIIs and even the Mark IVs now, and they're just fantastic. And they make these, because these are not lightweight guns, and they make them very nice to hold and just an incredible wrist. So just in case you were wondering what I had on that gun, that's what it is. So let's get to it here. First step, of course, making sure the gun's cleared. And then the first thing you're going to do is you want to release the trigger. So let's just double check. The gun has been cleared, of course. I'm releasing the trigger. Let's go ahead and drop the magazine. You can see I do have an extended magazine release on that. I'll talk about that more in the detailed strip section. Let's set that aside. And then we're going to remove the mainspring. Easiest thing to remove the mainspring, you simply want to clip that, pull it forward. You can go anything from a twisty tie to a cap of a Bic pen. There is a tool out there that you can get pretty cheap. I've kind of busted this one up in parts, but it's got a nice little scallop hook for it, and I like to use that. I asked, try not to use metal on it. It's really tempting to do. I see a lot of guys doing it, and then I usually end up being the unlucky one that bought it used with lots of scratches back there. So simply release the tension, pull the mainspring forward, and then pull down. Now I'm going to tell you it's easy because this gun is easy, but I will also be honest and tell you many guns are not easy. I have some that are an absolute bear and they're stuck. And what I recommend you do with that is take you a little, I've got some stubby, I think it's an AR-15 tool punch, and just put it on the top of the head of that sticks down, and use that with a rubber mallet to put pressure and pop that down. Just when you do it, keep the mainspring in the channel because some of these will really slam down. And if you don't keep it aimed in that channel, you will scratch the backside of your gun. And next we're going to remove the bolt. Sometimes the bolt won't release, like as in that right there. What's happening is the hammer strut is getting trapped between the cross pin there for the sear spring. And so in order to get that to release, simply tilt it down, pull the trigger, you'll see that get out of the way, and then tilt the gun up to get that strut out of the way, hold the trigger the whole time, and then you want to basically just kind of whack the gun and see if you can get that hammer to fall down. Once the hammer falls down, the bolt will come out. What's happening is that hammer is getting trapped up in the underside of the bolt, and so it won't let it out. You got to get that hammer out of the way to do it. We're going to take the barrel off next. It goes forward off of the frame. Some guns are loose enough, I've never had one, where you can actually do it by hand. Most require a little bit of persuasion. For that, I use a rubber mallet. Keep it down low to the table because sometimes it will really pop. And just give it a slight tap while using your thumb to push against the frame. And there it's off. And there you have it. You can see the lug up in there that was holding it in place. That's all there was. So then you got your bolt. And really just for field strip cleaning, I would just take off the recoil spring, just pull that back a little bit and up. This one is dirty. I've never taken this gun apart or cleaned it. And so it's kind of wedged in there, sorry. There we go, it just comes up out of there. Once you're clean, they come out pretty easy. In the detailed strip, we'll go ahead and take the rest of this bolt apart, the extractor, the firing pin and all that. But for a field strip cleaning, If your gun's in reasonable shape, you've been out to the range and just want to clean it, you can really get at the barrel there and really clean the bore. That's pretty much all you need to do. So let's reassemble this. First, I would never put a gun back together as dirty as this one is, but in the detailed strip that I'm about to do, I'll get it all cleaned up. So let me just show you how this works to finish this video. So we're going to take the recoil spring, we're going to put it back into the bolt, place it in there, and then a little downward pressure, pop that right into place. Fits very easily. Let's take our frame, put our barrel back on. That lug only goes in one way there, snaps down in place. Now we're going to reverse the pressure here. Let's take a little bench block so I don't damage my surface. And I'm essentially just going to put a tap on the back of the frame with a rubber mallet. And you can do it the opposite way by putting on the barrel, but I'm going to do it from this end. Just put a little bit of downward pressure there. You can really, on some of them you can really feel them set. If you don't, when you go to put the mainspring in, you'll find you got to stop and back up. Okay, so let's take the bolt. First of all, let's make sure that the hammer is still down. You can see there in this one that it is. If it's not, you got to do that whole, release of the strut type thing to get it free so that you can get the hammer down. So let's take the bolt, slide that back into place, and then we're going to take the mainspring. Keep an eye on that channel there. Make sure you get it in the channel so you don't scratch your gun. Yes, it'll flop around on you. A little tricky to do on camera. Keep the bolt in, make sure and slide that back up best you can. There we go. This one pops very easily. I apologize if yours doesn't. This one does. Many don't. If not, a tool like this, a dowel rod right through here. You can imagine, I would never do it with the punch like this, but you can imagine an object like this slid along the frame. Let's say a wooden dowel, please, preferably, or plastic. This tool happens to be pretty good at that. Slide it in and it will help pop it and get you the pressure you need up in there. It takes something like that on many of these guns. If it's just an unbearable pressure, just stop, go back and make sure you're realigned, reset, and make sure that your barrel is all the way back on the frame. Okay, that done. Now we got to make sure that we get our hammer out of the way. So we're going to tilt the gun down, pull the trigger. Okay, you can see your mainspring wants to just flop when you do that. Then keeping the mainspring out, go ahead and tilt it up. You can hear that strut move around, and essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture that strut on the mainspring. That time it worked. I'm going to do it again to show you, but you know that it worked when you get a little bit of spring tension here at the end. You know that that strut fell into the right place. Let me just show you. I'm going to open this back up and show you. There's a little indent in there, and essentially you want to get that hammer strut so that it's in there. You can't see it. It's all hidden in the frame. But again, on these Mark IIs, simply tilt it down, pull the trigger, get the hammer forward, get that strut hanging free, let the mainspring start to come down part way. If it does, it's fine. Tilt the gun up, mainspring flip out, that's fine. And then you want to capture, you can almost see it on this one sticking out there. I don't know if I can get it on camera, but that strut's just waiting, saying, where do I go? And so you've got it hanging there, and then bring that mainspring down. Hopefully I got that kept that centered. At that point, once you know you've got that tension, you can let go of the trigger because you need 3 hands to do this. And then simply push in, lock in place, keep your fingers out of the way. This gun likes to bite. Let me just show you here. Yesterday I was doing a stainless one, it bit me there. Today, just getting set up for this one, it bit me there. There's just a lot of sharp edges. If you don't keep your hands out of the way when you're pulling the bolt back, it likes to bite. So there you have it, and we can put the magazine back in. We can test it, bolt stop works. Oh yes, by the way, I have an extended bolt stop on this one too, which is needed with that big Valquartsen grip. And there you have it, put back together. Ruger Mark II, this one's a government target model. Ruger Mark IIs all work the same. Back together, fully functional. Hope that helps. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to do a complete detailed strip. This one's going back in the safe. Drop me a comment below, give me a thumbs up. See you on the next one.